Hi everyone, welcome back to another episode of Run Yogi Diaries. This is your host, Santosh Shiva. First of all, I want to take the opportunity to thank each one of you for supporting this podcast. We hit 100 episodes today. Over the last 2 years, I've had the privilege of talking to some amazing people, day-to-day people, who are on an extraordinary journey of well-being through endurance sports. I hope you took some possibility back into your lives, took some action, and maybe some inspiration to perspire. If you're on this channel for the first time today, please do consider subscribing to it. In today's episode, I'm so glad to have Badhri Chakravarty, someone who started running after the age of 50. Never late, is never late, and has scaled his journey in marathons. He's finished 75 marathons. He has qualified for Boston, and he's only getting better with his age. He's on his journey to complete his 100 marathons as we speak over the next couple of years. Let's get behind the scenes on how it all started. I hope you enjoyed this conversation. Let's dig in. Hey Badri, welcome to Run Yogi Diaries.
Nice to be here.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for being here. A quick introduction to you. You are someone who's been on a journey of running for a while now, and 75 plus marathons, which is incredible. Planning on hitting 100 very soon. At the rate at which you're completing marathons. I saw that last couple of weeks back you did back-to-back marathons, and so you're a man on a mission, and you live in St. Louis, correct?
Yes, I live in St.
Missouri,
Louis. Yes.
and a technologist by profession. So married, have kids, all that good stuff. So did I cover everything about you?
I think you covered everything more than what we want here. That's good. Yeah.
So maybe we should do a bit of a flashback and go back in time and say, hey, how did it all get started? Why and how? So take us back.
Absolutely. In fact, I just got a notification in Facebook, probably 2 days back, June 2nd, something like that. Okay. June 2nd, 2012. Okay. That
Uh-huh.
was a starting point, I should say. And my oldest son, was in med school in Kansas City. And he was going to run a half marathon, what they call it as a hospital hill run. Okay.
Hmm.
And I said, hey, let me go to Kansas City and then cheer him. So I go there, have a good time, and he finishes the run, pictures here and there, and all done. And those days, I'm going back 10 years back. Facebook was
Yeah.
kind of still being used by youngsters and other people too. So he put it on
Right.
Facebook saying that, Dad, it's your turn to run rock and
Hmm.
roll in St. Louis in October. So I didn't even, I didn't, pay much attention to that. I said, that's fine. Okay. Just another message, in it.
Hmm.
So couple of weeks later, I thought, hey, he put something and can I give it a try? So not that way, but at least do something. Generally I do walk around my neighborhood. And then I thought, okay, let me
Hmm.
try, run from my house, here to the end of the street. I'm just pointing here, end of the street,
Right.
and come back home. And yeah, I
Hmm.
was able to do it. So
Hmm.
again, next day, same thing here, end of the street, and come back. So I did it almost all the 7 days. And then I went
Hmm.
back to my son saying that, hey, my joints are really hurting, and what is that I can do? He said, Dad, you don't have to run all the 7 days. Just give a break on Saturday and Sunday, something like that. Give a break. So
Hmm.
that's when, yeah, okay, give a break. So that helped. That even the small tip, which we didn't think,
Hmm.
that helped. So next
Hmm.
week I said,
Yeah.
okay, end of the street, go to the next end of the street. So that worked too. So I'm doing two streets now. So then on the third week I go to the third street, and the fourth week I come back to the fourth, one loop around my block, around
Right,
my,
right.
this area. So I said,
Hmm.
hey, I'm able to do that. This is the same path that we used to take my dog, those days, walking path. So, hey, I'm able to do that. So, what next? So, I said, okay, from here to the signal. So, it's like a baby step, right? Okay, go to the signal and come back.
Hmm.
So, yeah, I'm able to go to the signal and come back. So, that's actually a 1 mile. So, I said, hey, I'm able to do 1 mile going to the signal and coming back. So, okay, what about that signal to the next signal? No, so like that, so you keep adding up
Hmm.
slowly.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So go to the next signal and it coming back. That
So
is
was this your
four.
son telling you this, or did you figure this out as a method?
This one I'm just figuring out myself. So my son only said,
Oh,
it's
okay.
your turn to do October. So I have sick June to October, whatever thing is. I mean, I was not putting under
Yeah.
that kind of mindset. I said, let me give it a try. It's all
Hmm.
about that. So I said, okay, keep going and keep adding distance. I know half marathon is
Hmm.
13.1. That's all I know. But I said, okay, keep adding distance and time, how long you can be on
Yeah.
your feet. So kept going like that, and then I finally, I think I'm just looking at my notes here too. I signed up for my first half on October 7th, 2012. That was my first
Hmm.
half. There's a half marathon called Cowbell Marathon. It's a flat course. Heard a lot about it.
Hmm.
Neighboring town. I signed up. So it was not about the timing. I got a good timing of 2 minutes and 6 seconds. That's immaterial. It's more about, yes, hey, I could do it. So for the next
Yeah.
6 or 8 months, I
That's amazing.
was doing a lot of half marathons back to back. Many of them, within a
Hmm.
week, within 2 weeks, like that. So yeah,
That's amazing. What's amazing is, just in a matter of 10 years, you scaled it to some terrific heights. But we'll get into that. But were you someone who was an active person in younger days, or was it like starting from scratch for you? This whole running thing.
I think you can say starting from scratch. The reason is fine. When I was in my college, engineering, well, we used to
Hmm.
do a lot of walking around, from the hostel to,
Hmm.
the department, and generally walk around the whole, explore kind of thing. But
Right.
I was
Right.
not a runner at all per se, and I'm not that athletic too. A
Hmm.
little bit of cricket here and there those days, across the
Hmm.
street, street cricket we call it.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
all,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
nothing beyond that. And of course, coming to this country, uh, made opened up a lot of opportunities. You got beautiful
Hmm.
walking, running, trail, sidewalk, and nearby park. There's so much of options you have,
Yeah.
and the weather
Hmm.
conditions also really good. I mean, I got to say that it's so good if you're going to be running in the spring versus summer
Yeah.
versus fall. I mean, you can see your body responding so
Yeah.
differently in these situations. These are
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
part of the
Yeah.
learning. I'll come to that also later on that.
Yeah. 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 So, and why did you take up this challenge? I mean, you could have always said, "Forget about it," right? I mean, why should I do this? What prompted you to take it up?
So it's
So,
more
what
about
was there? What was prompt?
it's about psychological satisfaction, and you feel good about
Mm,
yourself, and you know um, you generate some kind of another layer of discipline in your system, in your bodies. And
mm,
of course, I should say, over a couple of years of running, um, I started shrinking. It's a kind of a joke I'm saying, but my
mm,
clothes were not fitting. And somebody made a joke one of the time saying that, Badri, at this rate, I think you'll have to change your wardrobe. Till then, I didn't even think about it. And I'm reducing 4 inches in my waist. And I said, wow, I need to really go get new clothes. And so those are some motivations, you feel more energetic. That's one side of the shop. Okay. Second thing is, I am
mm.
surrounded by a bunch of running buddies at work. Okay. There are three or four of them.
Oh,
They keep talking about it, and there were some buddies there. They are marathon runners, so they really wanted to do one per state. So these talks are always in our mind. These are going on at the same time. In my street there is a guy named Alan Brown. Okay, this guy is a
mm,
Iron Man. Okay, he's a late
mm,
50s kind of person, but he's been running Iron Man and he'll be doing almost for 13 hours, of that, the whole thing, swimming, running, and biking.
Mm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And he was wanting to do that over and over. I believe if he does 12 times,
Mm.
he wants to ultimately get to Kona. So for him, so he'll
Mm.
do multiple Ironman. So to me, in my mind, some of these people are all role model in my mind. So if their body can
Mm.
take these kind of beating, I want to call it, for us, whether it's a half marathon or full marathon, your body can do it, provided your brain controls saying that yes, you can do it. So body has to
Mm.
cooperate. Your mind is saying that yeah, you can do it. And look at all these people. You can make it. In
So
your
so
way too.
they inspired you to start running. Is that correct? I mean, they inspired you to or kind of gave you that little kida, right? Like we say, there's a kida. It
The
got
the,
into
the,
your
the
head saying,
trigger.
"Hey, I got to start running too." Okay.
Yeah, exactly. For example, see, my son gave me the first trigger, so he was able to. He was running it. So I said, "Hey, I want to run
Okay.
too." From that point. At the same time,
Mm.
bringing all
Mm.
these things together, I felt that why not I take my running to the next level of running one full marathon. That's it, nothing more. So I signed up for one
Mm.
full marathon. I think October of 2013. So one, I'm done. I said, okay, I'm done. So I felt that there is a whole lot of a trained body sitting here and doing nothing.
Mm.
What can I do? Just one more marathon after that. So I signed up for another marathon after 6 months.
So
So I said,
which one was your first one? Which one was the
first one
first one you
was
signed up for?
my rock and roll marathon in St. Louis. And it was
Mm.
hard. It was hard. I
Mm.
think I took 4 hours, 44 minutes or whatever it is. I'm just looking at my timing here. And that was brand new, to me, running that long distance. But I trained in the
Yeah.
sense like my friends gave me the
Mm.
notes. They said like,
Mm.
this is your week one schedule. I mean, they had a multi-week schedule, and this is how you ramp up and this is how you ramp down.
Mm.
So I followed them really religiously. I went up to even 24 miles,
Mm.
to go through the cycle. So having gone through that, and I felt that why should I stop now? Because it's a trained to marathon body here. Just do one
Yeah.
more, and I didn't know when to do one more. So I did. I think after 6 months, my second one.
Yeah. So let's dial back to your first marathon. You signed up uh, another one. You said only one. You started with one, but you signed up for the next one after 6 months. And and then at what point did you decide to just keep going?
So when I started, testing my body during this first 5 or 6 of the marathons, I was able to see
Okay.
where I'm able to repeat. Okay. Then of course I came to know
Mm.
about a couple of websites. Till then it was more like a she said, he said kind of thing, and then picking up marathons and then signing up. Then I came to know about marathonguide.com or
Yeah.
runningintheusa.com.
Yeah.
Okay, these two are my
Yeah. Yeah.
I this is my two websites all the time in my it's thing. So keep looking at the calendar, keep looking at the calendar, and then try to learn. Hey, what about that? Try to talk to our friends and look at the
Right.
feedback and all that. So initially, when I went to Chicago as my third marathon,
Mm.
I I think my first marathon was 4:44. Chicago was 4:10.
Mm.
That was a great boost to me, saying that hey, I can do it. That too in 4:10.
Mm.
And the crowd cheer. Those are all, I
Mm.
mean, excellent in Chicago. That's a different story. But it's flat.
Yeah. Yeah.
But even
Yeah.
then, I felt that wow, 4:10 is something good. My next target is to get sub four. So I signed up
Mm.
marathons to get to when I can get to my sub four
Mm.
marathon. So
Mm.
different kind of
Mm.
situations, weather conditions, your the hills, and how you do hydration, and so many other factors. So I think I got one of the marathons at some point of time. I got my 3:58 in St. Louis, I think St. Charles, I should say, cowbell. So
Mm.
that was my like a breaking point, saying that wow, I can do even sub four.
Yeah.
Then I said,
Mm.
okay, wow, I can do sub four. Okay, what about another one? So let that keep going to the next level. So I said, then it
Mm.
became in my mindset. let's start doing one per state. So I switched to one per state at
Mm.
that point of time, saying that start driving to various locations and things like that. So yeah, either
Yeah.
one of them was, of course, Huntington, West Virginia. I want to say it. Okay, that's the
Mm.
5 hours from here. And while driving to
Mm-hmm.
Huntington, West Virginia, it's pretty hilly, and West Virginia is supposed to be hilly
Mm.
too. And I go there,
Mm-hmm.
run one loop, and then repeat one loop. Okay, that is a marathon.
Mm.
November first week kind of time
Mm.
frame. And I go there and come back. I get up 3:52. That is like a incredible
Mm.
pace for me. And I said, "Wow, that's
Mm.
my PR." I should say, at that time, probably 6 years
Mm.
back or something like that. I said, "Wow, this is the best timing I got." And then I all those thinking into what about running in Boston. Then I look at all the Boston details, and
Mm.
people talk about it, right?
Mhm.
So look at all the details, look at all the eligibility. Oh wow, if I continue for 352 in one more year, I change age group, I get to
Mhm.
qualify for Boston. And that was the same time Boston said that no, we are all slashing our time by 5 minutes. I don't know whether you know that. So from
Yeah.
355, they said, no, your qualifying time now is going to be 350. Now I'm chasing another target now. 352 is not good enough. I need to go down, down. So like that, keep chasing for
And what age?
something.
How old were you that when this was happening?
So I would have been probably 59 when I was trying to aim for my, Boston qualifier. Okay.
Boston.
So how it works is, you know, when you are in 59, Boston qualifier is based on when you're running it. Okay. So
Mm.
61, sorry, I should say 58. I need to step back. 58 November time frame, whatever time that I have, that is valid for 60 April.
Mm.
So there's a transition period. This is legal. I'm not trying to cheat the system.
Mm.
That is,
Yeah, yeah,
you
yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
see because the Boston 18 months before what you run gets as a timing for the race that you're going to do after 18 months on that day when you're going to run.
Mm.
So so people can take advantage of this one. You may be running a little at a
Mm.
younger age, whereas when you're running, it's a little older age. So right now at this point of time, I'm looking forward to my next Boston Marathon. If I run next
Mm.
November, I'll be heading towards that 63 to 65 transition. So 65
That's
gets
quite
me,
amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's something that I think I forgot to also call out that it seems like you started your running after you completed 50. So, that's another gold to call out because a lot of people have concerns about turning 50 and getting old. But look at you. you are you are getting younger. So that is quite an amazing story as well. Amazing. So, did you end up doing the Boston at all?
Yes. First year, AT&T, I should say, I want to really thank AT&T for that. AT&T
Mm.
marketing department, um, uh, we have an AT&T store right at the Boston finish line,
Mm.
by the way.
Mhm.
So we participate, big time in the Boston event itself through,
Mm.
I think we provide some kind of a texting, options, free texting, blah, blah, blah kind of thing. So we have an active role, and our marketing department has a set of reserved seats for the Boston. So first time when I ran
Mm.
Boston, I got the backdoor entry, I want to call it. So that experience was
Mm.
fantastic. I mean, it was so
Mhm.
good. I mean, you got to be there to feel that. So the whole 26
Mm.
miles and the whole concept of taking you to different location, and I'm not getting the name of the town, but yeah, and then run all the way through. It is a beautiful experience. And then I said I got to
Mm.
now qualify for Boston, run on my own. That was my next driver. So I
Mm.
got the timing, and of course, I was going to run April 2020, and then COVID hit.
Mm.
And
Mm.
2020 and 2021 was kind of a wash, you can call it. 21 was better, 20 was really
Yeah,
bad.
yeah.
and with they canceled the
Yeah.
race, and then when they asked me to apply again, my timing was not good enough
Hmm.
because the next time they reduced the field size, and
Hmm.
my qualifying time was not enough for to run in, I think, 21 whatever it is. So now of course I'll have to um, um, try again. um, Probably next
Hmm.
November I'll go back to Huntington, West Virginia. I want to say that again because
Okay.
Huntington, West Virginia gave me the PR, gave me the Boston
Mhm.
qualifier too. So I want to go back again to get
Hmm.
another Boston qualifier so that I can run when I'm 65 another time.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice. I haven't run in West Virginia. Maybe I should look at running in Huntington too. Seems like a, a nice place to run a marathon.
absolutely. That is one. At the same time, another one I want to really say it. I know, I'm sure that a lot of people would like to know that Portland, Oregon is a
Hmm.
greatest course. I hope they keep the same course, and that got me those days the best timing too. It was 3:47:05,
Hmm.
something like that. But of course, that age
Hmm.
was, I was in a different age bracket, so that was not enough for Boston.
Hmm.
But that course is beautiful. Happens in the first week of October, and you're guaranteed good weather. That's very important, right? So when you're
Hmm.
running marathon, you want to have some good timing. If you're running in the fall, I mean, you're normally guaranteed good, cool weather. September time
Hmm.
frame, can be a little bit iffy. So sometimes,
Yeah.
you got to see like some of those kind of options too while running. Weather is everything.
Yeah. Yeah. Nice. So, from what I'm hearing, from what you're saying, one, having the right set, hanging out with people who run around you definitely continues to motivate you because and I agree with you. The same thing happened to me as well. When you're with people who are constantly talking about, hey, that race and this race, so that's one thing that I hear got you to continue doing it. Second thing is uh, continuous improvement seems to be a theme in your story, right? Which is constantly looking at, hey, how do I get better at, it seems like something that 410 marathon in Chicago that
Chicago.
you mentioned seemed to have triggered off some kind of a self improvement journey, right?
Sure.
You saw hope or something just sparked off, which is fascinating because why I'm calling this out is a lot of people want to run marathons and they're very scared to commit to it and start, but you never know, right? Just like in your case, once you start doing it is when you discover, oh my gosh, I can do this and I can do this faster and better. And age no bar.
But again,
So
again, speed is not the only driver. Okay, that's very important. People have to know that.
hmm,
And the moment you go after
hmm.
speed, that's where things can
Yeah.
go other way too. Okay, that I learned the
Hmm,
hard way. By the way, I should say that. So if you
hmm, hmm.
constantly be looking for,
Sure.
I want to go 350, 344, you got to stop at some
Hmm,
point of time. Then you start enjoying it.
hmm.
Otherwise, you know, it depends. Depends on the mindset. There are some people, some
Yeah.
younger people. One of my friend in St. Louis, she has run. What's this? She's run a Boston qualifier in every state. That was her team.
Wow.
Okay, so that
Wow.
there are
Hmm,
various kinds of people, different kinds. Some people have done,
hmm,
you're talking about 50 states in my case. Some people have done 5 times the 50
hmm,
states. So that is another theme going on.
hmm,
And somebody said,
hmm.
I want to run all my marathons under 4 hours. So there are all kinds of themes that are there. You can pick and choose what you want. So in my case, of course,
Mhm.
I said, hey, let me finish all my 50 states, which I finished in 2019, thanks to the COVID. Well, before the COVID, I didn't know that COVID was coming. So that was a good,
Sure.
closure to this. Then I said, okay, let
Mm,
me go run one in India. Or, my in-laws were saying that
mm,
you got to come and run here.
mm,
So I ran one in,
mm,
Bombay in January 2019,
mm,
sorry, 2020, I should say. And then COVID came, and I had grand plans on 2020 to run many. And then I could only
mm,
do two marathons. That's it. So, of course,
mhm,
I want to really go back to my family here a little bit here. My son, my older son, who
Mhm.
got me into running, he wanted to run a marathon with me. But of course, he's a
Mm.
neurosurgeon, and he's got no time for training that long. But
Mm.
he still joined me in Providence, Rhode Island, um, and then he ran with me. I ran the full, he ran the half. So like that, whenever possible, we try to do that. My younger son, he likes to walk with me. He's not a runner, but he walks with me whenever
Mm.
he visits me and things like that. And of course, he's more of a biker. He does bike MS,
Mm.
multiple sclerosis. He's been doing it for the last eight
Sure.
years. Every
Mm.
year he'll be biking 150 miles. He'll raise funds,
Sure.
and it's more about generating awareness for the disease. So he enjoys that.
Mhm.
So when he comes to town, then I plan my running around wherever he's biking, things like that. And of course, my
Mm.
wife, she
Yeah.
pretty much she's a pharmacist, and
Mm.
she's doing a marathon every day, I should say, standing long
Mm.
hours in the
Yeah.
pharmacy job. So, but of course, she walks with
Mm.
me whenever she can. But that's the
Sure.
kind of thing, goes in the background. What helps me, and the support
Mm.
that I get, from my family also, and the motivation, in terms of, Dad, where
Yeah.
are you going? What's going on? What's up? Kind of thing. So
Yeah.
it's a fun
Yeah.
talk, but sometimes it becomes too
Yeah.
boring for them, saying that too much of running talks. You got to stop. I can keep going, but you got to see that.
Yes. So do you also get people come to you and say, why are you doing this? You're getting old. You shouldn't be doing this. It's bad for you. Do you get that also?
I do
And
get
how
it,
do, how do you
through.
typically respond?
So over a period of time, of course, even for me, it's a new space. Okay, not that I know, like, I can do
Mm.
100 or I can do 75 or 55, whatever it is. Nobody
Mhm.
knows. And initial days, a couple of years back, people tell me some stories, like saying that one of my friend was doing on the treadmill so many miles, and
Mm.
his joints broke down and things like that. Fine. I
Mm.
mean, every body is different. Each one's
Right.
body itself is very different. What my body can
Mm.
do is different than what somebody else. So there's no comparison at all in this.
Mm.
And if your body
Yeah.
works, in my case, if my body cooperates so far, keep it going, right? There's nothing
Mm.
to stop at this point of
Yeah.
time. So um, should I stop at 55, or should I stop at 60? Age, number of marathons.
Mm.
I mean, there's nothing, for me. Okay, I need to
Yeah.
still say this, okay? I mentioned about Alan Brown, my friend in this street.
Mhm. Mhm.
There are two other names I want to, three other names I should tell you. I think that'll help you also. There's a guy called James Lawrence, okay? James
Mm.
Lawrence he's a Canadian guy, and he lives somewhere in
Mhm.
Utah area, okay?
Mhm.
3 4 years back, I came across this person in the Facebook, I don't know, or somewhere. He calls himself he's Iron Cowboy, okay, and
Mm.
he was going to do a couple of years back one Ironman per day in each state for 50
Mm.
days.
Mm.
So he
Mm.
started
Mm.
with the Hawaii, Alaska, and once he came into the mainland, he was driving each night, go to the next state, and he'll do an Ironman. So you're talking about 2 miles plus of swimming and 140 miles of biking. I said 110 miles of biking and a full marathon. So every day
Mhm.
he'll repeat that. And he came to Missouri too.
Mhm.
So I was almost going to go see him. So
Mhm.
this man, I mean, for me, like, how is that his body could take 140 miles of beating
Right.
every day?
Right.
That was
Right.
very mind
Right.
boggling to me. And of course, last year,
Mm.
in fact, he did something more. He did 100
Mhm.
Ironman, 100 days in one location. I mean, that is like
Mm.
too much for me. How can he do that?
Mm.
So
Mm.
another one is Jeff Galloway. He's another marathon runner. Okay,
Mhm.
I think he's in the 70 years old, and plus he's still running. He's got his own
Yeah.
JG marathon, I think somewhere in the Atlanta area, and he's another
Mhm.
one
Mhm.
I came across. And I think those days when he was in the 17, 18, 19, 20 kind of thing, I think he clocked sub 4 mile per mile kind of a speed running he did. At the same time, I think I was in Disney doing my dopey challenge. One of the times that is 48 miles or something like that, 4 days. And Jeff
Yeah.
Galloway was right there. So I could meet with him.
Mm.
And for me, like,
Mhm.
he's 70 years old. He's got a big fan
Mm.
base, people wanting to run. He gives a lot of
Mm. Mm.
lessons. He's also got a technique called run, walk, run. Okay, that
Yeah.
he patented is that run walk run
Yeah.
concept.
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
got a device and all that, but what I'm saying is some of those
Yeah.
techniques, when you try to use it, run walk
Mm.
run, it means nobody's running. I mean, I'm not running
Yeah.
26.2, I'm walking here and
Mm.
there. When do I walk,
Mm.
what do I walk, what gives me the nice break, those are important too.
Mhm.
And I want to
Yeah.
mention about one more person here, Harriet Thompson. Okay,
Mhm.
Harriet Thompson, she died when she was 94, and she started running
Mhm.
marathons when she was 75. Okay.
Mm.
And I go to
Wow.
San Diego Rock and Roll Marathon. I go to the
Mhm.
convention center,
Mhm.
and right at the entrance of the convention center, I see a small, I'm a very short lady
Mhm.
in
Mhm.
purple, and people are, taking some videos, interviews, media, and everything was going on. And later
Mhm.
on, I come back to
Mhm.
my room, and one of my running buddies said that, "Did you see Harriet Thompson there? Who is Harriet
Mm.
Thompson?"
Mm.
Then did some Google or whatever it is, and then I connected that is Harriet Thompson. So then I did more
Mm.
research. She's a cancer survivor. Her husband died of cancer,
Mm.
and she starts to run at 75, and she's been running marathons till she was 92 years old. So she, in fact, has the title of the oldest person to have the running the half marathon and fastest or something like that. So
Mm.
what
Yeah.
my point is, if some of these people can run at that
Mm.
late
Mm.
age, or even some of these guys can take that kind of a beating in the body so much.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm only doing a 4.5 hours of marathon, so even if it hurts here and there, make it work, you know so train your mind.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense. Makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. I think you definitely draw inspiration from people. That's clearly something that's working for you. You draw energy from other people's effort. Also, in terms of your own personal approach to recovery, because in last 10 years you've been running a lot, and how has it changed your lifestyle in terms of making sure you're healthy, you're recovering well? What have you done right from that perspective?
See, I come from a project management mindset. Okay, it's totally, you're going to hear
Hmm.
something totally here different.
Yeah.
So, project management, staying organized, checklist. These are all very important for me. Okay, in my personal life.
Mm.
And for
Mm,
if
mm,
I
mm.
sign up for my marathon, say this year I'm going to be doing 15 marathons. Okay, so 15 marathons.
Wow.
Um, so there is so much of coordination that needs to happen here. So at the same time,
Mm,
I want to save money too. So normally I wait for
mm,
when the registration opens, sign it. So you get the best rate.
mm,
So once you it's also forcing you to commit yourself. Okay, this is a very important item
mm.
here. If you commit to
Yeah.
something, I have a lot of my friends that I mentor at work.
Mhm,
Generally we talk
mhm,
about running and all that. um, I said you got to commit to one race, give a 5K
mm,
race, or commit to a 5K, or do something. Once you have it, you work towards that. So once I signed up for this many marathons, so I got to stay
mm,
organized to achieve those. So it means I got to
mm,
book the flights optimally. I got to, if I'm driving, I got to plan all the logistics properly. The hotel should be booked properly, and my body has to function properly. I don't want to be,
mm,
eating some junk. I mean, I don't eat junk. I'm just saying it. So I'm since
mhm,
I'm coming from a South Indian background, I eat a lot of rice, so, and
mm,
lentils and vegetables. I mean, this is my
mhm.
all the time eating. And of course, I
Yeah.
don't drink soda. I mean, not that I don't want to. it's not there. For me, I
Mhm.
like drinking a lot of water. So I
Mm.
condition my body in such a way that it's ready for this kind of runs. And
Mm.
so that really helps, applying those kind of project management mindset in terms of breaking down work breakdown
Right.
structure, I want to call it, planning skills,
Yeah. Yeah.
budgets, all those come in this um,
Mm.
kind of some level of discipline, you can call it. And helps me repeat and
Mhm.
go. In fact, 3 weeks back, I want to say this. 3 weeks back, I had Big Sur marathon. That was one of my bucket list item. And one of my great friend from Houston, and he got. It's very difficult to get these kind of special marathons, and by lottery
Mm.
he got it, and he could not run it, and for he was going to do an Ironman. So accidentally, I happened to see this message saying that I have a Big Sur ticket available. Does anyone want to do it?
Mhm.
I said, looking at this, I said,
Mm.
come on, I got to do that. So I made a connection with this person, Ram, and we became so great friends now. And that was a big thing for me to, hey, I'm going to run Big Sur Marathon. That was a big deal for me. So I ran the Big Sur
Mhm.
Marathon. And of course, um, then come May, I have way too many marathons piling up. Okay. So because
Mm.
of COVID, 2020, 2021, things get pushed, pushed, pushed. In the month of May, I landed up with 3 marathons in the same month. So each
Mm.
with 2 weeks gap, one with just 6 days gap. So I was mentally getting preoccupied saying that how am I going to accomplish this? 2 weeks is fine, I got it, no problems.
Mm.
My body can recover in 2 weeks.
Mm.
I'm good to go. The 6 days, I'd never done it. I've done
Mm.
7 days, even one night I can, it makes a difference in runner's body, I can tell you that. One night of
Mhm.
extra
Mhm.
sleep, your body relaxes a little more.
Mm.
6 days, I was kind of a little bit paranoid inside me, saying that how am I going to do it? But I got to make it
Mm.
happen. So I go to Bay Shore. This is in Traverse City, Michigan. So I go there. The course is flat. The weather is good. Everything is good. And I said, just got to make it. At the same time, the course has
Mm.
a cutoff time of 6 hours. I said, six
Mm.
hours. If I walk, also, can I may not be able to do in 6 hours. How am I? If my things don't, if things start breaking down, what do I do? So I said,
Mm.
just make
Mm.
it happen. Just go with your guts. You can make it happen. So I start running. The weather is good. I take off pretty well there, and I think by mile 21, mile 22, I think I'm starting to slow down. But then I felt very confident saying that
Mm.
I can make it within 420, 421, 430, whatever it is. So I'm well before the 6 hour thing. So now I have one more story in my mind saying that yes, my
Mm.
body was able to repeat in 6 days. Do I want to do it again? No. But if there is a
Mhm.
situation that is going to happen, I have a lessons learned that I can repeat it. So it's not
Mm.
anything. I'm
Mm.
not alien to that. Can I do it in? Some people have done back to back. One on
Mhm.
Saturday, one on Sunday, but my mind is still not ready for it. But if I'm pushed to,
Mhm.
do that, maybe. So it's again, back to, it's a more of a brain train, you want to call it. So
Mm. Mhm.
so that's one of the important thing, in this whole journey, thing that your mind has to say that yes, I'm ready for it.
Yeah.
I think then you make it happen.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes sense, and it seems like I think just to call out some gold here, right? So one is the management mindset is a great metaphor. If you want to take on anything of this scale, right? In the case we're talking about running here, marathons here, but anything of scale, you need to have the project management mindset, and I think a lot of people struggle with that, just being getting down to the last mile details of how you're going to travel, when you're going to travel, how much is going to cost. All of that is great, and you also talked about lifestyle changes, including eating the right food, making sure you're healthy, in order to achieve this, project that, for a lack of a better word, let's call this a project, for in your parlance. Also, a question that I had was in terms of volume of training, right? So I guess the traditional training methods go out of the window because you're doing a 15 marathon, which is almost a marathon a month. If you read traditional literature on marathons, they'll talk about, you know, recovery of months, after a marathon. But obviously, none of those rules apply here because you're doing one a month almost. And so, talk to us a little bit about your training strategy. What are you doing to keep yourself fit to be doing these on a consistent basis?
Yeah. So when I started initially, I followed the typical training schedule of ramp
Mm,
up to 18, 20, then,
mm,
ramp
mm.
down, all those, the whole schedule. And I did it for,
Yeah.
since I was doing once in 6 months. So I was following that almost, I think,
Mm,
first 2 years, I can say, or first 1 year, I should say, I
mm,
started running marathons.
mm,
After that, probably, I started doing 10 to 12 marathons per year from that point onwards. So when
mm,
you're in that kind of mode, your your each marathon becomes your long run. So that's one of the
mm,
reasons that, even in 2 week cycle or 3 week cycle, if you're able to repeat, that means you don't need, there's no time for you to even ramp up and down there. You already done your
mm,
whatever training you've done. You got your first marathon run, and then you do the recovery, and then you are pretty much ready
mm,
to go for another marathon. So that is one cycle of the equation here.
mm,
Typically, I run Tuesdays and Thursdays 8 miles, and then on Saturdays I
mm.
do a 14 miles. So 8, 8, 14.
Okay.
So that's my pattern.
Mm,
I mean, since I have marathons all the time, this pattern works for
mm,
me. Would it work for everybody? I don't
mm,
know. So this has been like, even
mm,
right now, the same thing I continue. Even in July and August, summertime, there is no marathons per se. I continue the same pattern. And again,
okay.
when I go to my long, the marathon in end of August, I'm still, my mind is ready for it. So that is one thing. And second
Mm,
thing is, I am kind of a more, you can call it a joke here, OCD on my walking.
mhm,
Okay. So for me,
mm.
every day I walk around 9 to 10 miles. If I don't do this 9 to 10 miles of walking,
Wow.
I feel something is missing in my system. That's important. That
Mm,
gives me the completion. That is, all my joints have been tested for the day. I'm good. So,
mm,
so week, if I do run and walk, I'm talking about 70 to 80 miles of running and walking, and it has been happening all
mm.
these years. It is not anything
Wow.
made up today or whatever it is. So 10 miles of
Mhm,
walking, I'm really emphasizing that, keep moving. In fact, I want to call it here. This is a bottle that I'll talk about a story here, later on when there is a time. Um, keep moving. So the joints have
mm,
to be constantly be. This is my. I don't have much scientific fact here. I'm just,
mhm.
it's my what works for me.
Yeah.
Some people may find
Understood.
it
Yeah.
useful. So if you
Mhm,
stop it, so it means you're starting all over from scratch. So
mm,
keep moving, keep your joints moving. That's very, very important. And for me, this kind of a 78 80 miles per week is what is really helping me. Every day I need to do that. Even when I go to
mm,
go for a marathon, the day before I go pick up the packet, I'll be still walking somewhere round and round and round around the hotel or whatever it is, whichever place, um, to get to my 9 to 10 miles. And that I feel that that's
wow.
a very important ingredient in my in my point.
Yeah.
That's my joints have to be loosened up. So
Yeah. Yeah. That is fascinating. Very fascinating. What about effort levels? So these 8, 8, 14 that you do, are you doing that all of them at easy pace, low intensity, or some of them you mix up with some higher intensities?
I don't have any intensity aspect in mind. I normally run, but
Mm,
at least over a period of time, I learned. I make mistakes even now too, but I learned certain things of what not to do.
mm,
For example,
mm,
first 2 or 3 miles in a marathon, I go really slow. If I'm at a 8 40
mm,
pace on a regular 1 or 9 minute pace or whatever it is, I go around 10 to 10 15, 10 minutes, 10 15 kind of thing, very slow. Same principle I follow
mm,
even on my 8 miles run. When I start, First 2 miles, I really go slow. Take it easy. Once the
Hmm.
body gets used to the whole thing, then you start going back to your normal self. And summertime, your body is reacting differently. Wintertime, your body is reacting differently. So your initial couple of miles, are very important. At the same time, during marathons, people also say that first half, if you're able to take it very easy, your second half,
Mm,
you become very efficient. I found it very recently too.
mm,
When I went to Cleveland marathon in May,
mm, mm,
first half, I was running through downtown Cleveland. So downtown Cleveland, there are way too many bridges because a lot of water system going on there. So when you have too many bridges, you're going up and down. So it was hard too.
mhm,
So I ended up in a very bad, pace in the first half. During the second half, we run along with the lake, and the temperature dropped very weirdly in Cleveland. Maybe that's what Cleveland is. Morning was hot, afternoon was cold. So the temperature dropped to 55 degrees. I'm running along the lake, and I know that course pretty well too. I go 6 miles,
mhm,
12 to 18, I'm doing 18 to 24, I'm coming back. And while going, I get the
mm,
headwind. While coming, I get the tailwind. I said, wow, this
mm,
coming back 6 miles is going to be the best one kind of thing. So I come back with such a great, excellent pace because I conserved a lot of
mm,
energy in the first half,
mhm,
and I was able to use it in my second half. Overall, I ended up
mm.
in an excellent timing in Cleveland in my own view. Timing is not the ultimate driver here,
Yeah.
but the situations really made it all happen. So starting
Mm,
slow and then ramping up is good on every run, whether it's your training run, whether it's a
mhm.
marathon, and things like that. Even in marathons, if you start slow with a slow pace
Yep.
team, then you can, once you get to the rhythm, then you can go on your own. Normally for the first 4 miles, I stay with some pace team, then I take
Mm,
off in my own way. So yeah.
right. And what is a since you're doing so many marathons in a year, what do you consider a an acceptable pace for you? I mean, is it like a 4 hour finish or is it a 4:30? What is it usually for you? You feel like okay, this was a good acceptable.
I would say not, I'm at a point where I take anything in. Okay, there are a lot of unknown
Mm,
factors till the race morning.
mm,
Okay, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Last month I went there. Okay, it's a clean,
mhm,
flat course, runs along the lake.
mm,
That particular day,
mm,
Kenosha was so hot, and
mm,
temperature is very important for you. Okay, if the temperature conditions are not
mm.
good, I mean, to me, I want to say that way. If the temperature conditions are not
Yeah, yeah.
conducive, I'm not going to be, I'll be in the 4:30,
Mm,
4:35 kind of thing. If it's a nice,
mm,
perfect weather, I can easily shoot for a sub four. So I mean,
mm,
I'm fine, whatever timing. But I know if I really want to have the top notch timing, I know which race to go
mhm,
after. Huntington, West Virginia, or Portland,
mm.
Oregon, or even Alaska, I
Yeah,
want to call it.
yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
Alaska, of course, I got another story also for it. I'll come to that. So Alaska is good.
Mm,
So weather conditions is very important in terms of what you can, what I
mm,
can aim for. So
mm,
I would look for now another Boston qualifier, but not at this point of time.
mm,
I have to be sub 350 to get a Boston qualifier. But again,
mm.
maybe I'll look for a um, next age group thing. I want to say something about the Alaska one. I was running in Anchorage,
Yeah.
and it's a beautiful, Mayor's Marathon. It's called during the summer solstice. With the long days and all that, and you have sunlight till 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock kind of thing. So I go there, and then uh, after 6 miles, you start running in the woods. Okay, so and between mile 6 and sorry, miles 8, I should say, right in front of me there were two bear cubs crossing, from left to right. So I got I started freaking out, and I didn't know what to do with it. Of
Mm.
course, there were runners along with me, and I didn't know how to respond to this bear crossing thing because I didn't pay attention to what rules. And some people have some pepper spray and some, some other things people have. I had nothing. So then I started talking to a guy who was running next to me. He said, "I'm from here," and he started really screaming at the bear and get away. Or he was trying to
Mm.
do all kinds of things. Then I felt that this guy may be a real. He knows how to handle bears. So I was running with him for next 2 3 miles, and then I said, next almost 10 miles were pretty much woods. So
Mhm.
I was running
Mm.
crazy because this was in my mind saying that, oh no, this place is full of bears, and what if there's going to be another bear? And I was like freaking out inside me. The next
Yeah.
10 miles, that must have been the fastest mile in my life. I can tell you the fastest 10 miles, I should say. So I finished running, and then almost came to mile 26 in Anchorage. Unfortunately, mile 25 to mile 26, there's a steep hill. And I was really, come on, I don't want any more hills. I got the best timing here. I got to finish it strong. But even then, I finished
Yeah.
the fastest
Yeah.
in 3:47, something like that, in Anchorage. And later on,
Wow.
I put my whole story in Facebook saying that this is what happened, kind of thing. Somebody said, "You really missed a mama bear in mile 10 because we saw that kind of thing." I said, "No, I don't want to say anymore." So these kind of, you
Wow.
never know. The bears made me run fast. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
every
Reminds me
marathon,
of no. Reminds me of those cartoons I've seen. Sometimes runners put either a wild dog is chasing them. In your case, it's a bear chasing you, and you got a PR.
so I love that. Each this is a when you go to different marathons, you learn something different. Of the location, of the situation, of what happened.
Yeah.
So these are some good memories in your mind. At the same
Yeah.
time, our
Yeah.
families, we all like to travel a lot. Okay, when the kids were young,
Hmm.
we
Hmm.
are national park junkies, you can call it. So we've been
Mm.
to
Mm.
so many national parks. What we've not been to is the
Mm.
northwest portion of the country with all the Banff and the um, Glacier National Park and some of
Mm.
those kind of things. We've done so many other national parks, including Death Valley and White Mountains and many many places. So
Mhm.
we travel a lot. We used to travel a lot, I should say, when my
Mm.
kids were all here.
Mhm.
It was easy when they were all
Yeah.
here,
Yeah.
and of course now they all gone in other cities, and now it's hard, but till the time they were
Yeah.
here we traveled a lot to various parts. But this running,
Mm.
going to
Mm.
different places, uh hey, what else here, this is a it's a blessing in disguise here. So you
Yeah.
enjoy
Yeah.
traveling,
Yeah.
at the same time you do your running.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful. I do want to just kind of call out something that you shared about your training before you shared with us about the Alaska story. Um, you seem to have, your training approach is definitely seems to be, breaking certain myths. Okay, and which is something that I want to call out because a lot of us who are doing marathons and running training for it, one is the walking part, right? 8 to 9 miles of walking is a key takeaway, right? The days you're not running, if you're doing 8 to 9 miles walking, it's still building something in you to be ready with running. The second aspect is the effort levels that you're putting for those 8 8 14s. They're not high intensity, they're moderate intensity, and it's still giving you that kind of because you've also become faster, right? It's not like since the time you started at 4:44 until now you've shaved almost an hour off your running, so which means what you're doing is working for you for sure, and I think it will work for many because these are some common sense approaches that we can take on because walking and high longer moderate intensity workouts is helping. That's one thing I want to call. The second thing was in terms of stretching and strength. Do you do anything specifically around that?
in fact, I should say that couple of months back, probably 6 months back or so, I had some kind of a pain on the hip side or something like that. I was thinking it is something else, and I did some Google. I wasn't sure about what exactly was it. Then I talked to my son, saying that, hey, this is what is going on. What do you suggest? And till then, I was just doing push-ups. That's all my, only for my upper body. I do
Mm,
push-ups every morning. I do, my way of doing push-ups. I want to call it. I do
mm,
40 one time, and then I do 5 times. I do it. That's all I do. After this
mm,
last 6 months, a small hip area pain, my son sent me a set of stretching exercise. So which I've been doing it.
mhm,
It takes around 30 minutes. Every morning. I do that
mm,
in terms of making sure that I'm stretched out and so that I'm good to go. But apart from these two,
mm,
pretty much I start running. So this has been helping, and I think one other thing I
mm,
want to call out, which is important for folks to know, that also hydration. Okay, which I didn't talk about at all.
mm,
Hydration
mhm,
is such a critical thing. I learned the hard way, I should say. One time I was running during my
mm,
training run. I was on mile 15, mile 16 somewhere initial days, and that's when I
mm,
came to know what is cramping. I didn't even know what is cramping till then. So for whatever
mm,
reason, that
mm,
particular day the temperature was very hot, and 15 miles probably I didn't take proper hydration. Then I go back to my friends, running
mhm,
friends, saying that, hey, what's up, why is it, did you have water, or did you have kind of any kind of a hydration? No, I didn't. Wow, there it is. So that's such a common sense item, which I ignored it. And that was a hard lesson that I learned. From that point onwards, I feel that anybody, anywhere, water is given in any race, I drink it. So even when I go to the marathons,
mm,
even if we don't feel thirsty, when there's a water station, I walk to the water station, I drink a gulp of two, and then run. So that gives me the body to
mm,
recover. At the same time, that hydration is filling in. So through the entire
mm,
26 miles, I mean, the cramping stopped from that point. And of course, each one is different. And normally by mile 19, that's typically I look at my mind, that's it's been working for me. By mile 19 is when my body really feels that, needs some electrolyte. Till then, I just run with water. So 19 onwards, I switched to electrolyte because I feel that that's I would have lost enough salt by then, and then finish my 26. That's a kind of combination. But yeah, hydration is very important. Many people forget that, and keep your body well hydrated. That's very important.
yep, yep, absolutely fascinating. Makes sense. So, hey, that was great. So, what next for you? You're at what number now? 80?
No, no, I just finished my 75. In
75.
where did I do? Bay Shore Marathon in Traverse City.
Okay.
So I got,
Okay.
in fact, since I'm here, I felt, so far things have been working good. And I want to
Mm,
head to 100 at this point of time. So
mhm,
I'm
mhm,
lining up many marathons this year. I got
mm,
9 more to come. And those are signed up. And so that'll get me to 84 by the end of the year. And I want to
mm,
do probably around 14 or 15 next year,
mm,
so that I want to do my 100th marathon in St. Louis. We call it Go St. Louis in April of 24. That's my plan, but you never know. There are so many things can happen.
yeah,
But this is my target. So
yeah,
at least
yeah.
this year, once I sign up, I'm heading towards it. Maybe something else can happen. Who knows?
Mm,
So I may not be able to do it,
mm,
but you got to have planning, right? You got to have some target.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
So if you don't have
yeah,
target, that's what they say. Um, attempt, even if you fail, is your success.
yeah,
So, and
yeah,
if you don't even try, that's not right. So have a
yeah.
target and work towards that. So
Well,
2024
well said. Well said.
April is what I'm looking for to do it in St. Louis here. Um, we'll see.
And has the world of ultras or trail running ever attracted your attention?
Ultras, I'm not totally into it in the sense like, I don't
Mm,
want to be running in the muddy waters and tripped over by route. See, when I
Yeah.
have a target of running many marathons, for me, no
Yeah.
injury is my mantra. Even
Mm,
while running, if it's going to take a minute or two extra, no big deal. I come to that kind of stage. Initially, I used to be more
mhm,
paranoid about it, but now I come to a point
mhm,
saying that even if it's 420 versus 422, it's not the end of the world. So by giving the two extra minutes, your body is not stretched. Your recovery time becomes much
mhm,
better. So with all that being said, ultra is not true attraction for me because I don't want to get injured. That's my bottom line. But at the same time, I signed up for a 50K. I want to do one 50K. That's my thing.
mm, mm,
So I signed up for a 50K 2 years back, Marine Corps Marathon, which is in Washington D.C. So that you run on the regular road like marathon,
mm,
whereas 50K is 30 minutes before the marathon starts. The 50K people are released. So I felt this model is a pretty good model. I believe there was a similar one in Chicago, Lakeshore Drive
mhm,
in the Michigan Avenue area, and I was really wanting to do that 50K once upon a time,
mhm,
but I think I don't see that
mm,
anymore. When Marine Corps Marathon introduced that, so I signed up for the 2 years back. It got cancelled 2 years in a row. I'm looking forward to my 50K in October to run in DC. So hopefully it'll be
mm,
only one ultra you can call it. I don't know, but
mhm.
I'm not ready for definitely going to the
Which,
trail and running it. But yeah.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, got it, got it. Yeah, terrific. Um, so that was a great conversation. I think we covered quite a bit in terms of your breadth and you know also your training strategies and how you kind of have built your journey around this. Uh, Coming to the last part of our conversation, where I have a fun Q&A round with my guests. So, are you ready for that?
Oh yeah, let's do it.
So, my first question is, as runners and athletes in general, we like to eat, we love our food. What is your indulgence? What is one junk food, if you were given a choice, you would love to indulge in?
I enjoy pizza, and pizza has got a lot of carb
Mhm.
too, and it's got all the veggies.
Yeah.
So that is something that, y- yeah, I love it. In fact, when I got the sub four in first time in Cowbell Marathon in Saint Charles here, one of my
Mhm.
work friends was right there cheering me. He's from that location.
Mhm. Mhm.
And mile 26, he said that, hey, Badri, you got it, sub 4. He knows that I'm working towards that. And right after that, me and him, we went to a nearby pizza place, the biggest pizza. I said, give me that. And I think I cleared almost 90% of it, and he only had. So that's my intelligence.
Okay. Okay. A food that you despise or don't avoid, you try to avoid.
Oh, I mean, everything in moderation, right? I mean,
But
fried stuff
something,
is good.
pick a dish or something you don't like, or a food that you despise.
You know what? I like all the things. It's hard to respond to that question, by the way, because even I like bitter stuff. I like I'm a vegetarian, by the way. So staying in the vegetarian space, typical South Indian,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Indian vegetarian. I mean, there are so much of varieties. There's nothing which you don't like at all. So
Hmm.
I love every veggie. I can call it that way. And yeah, there's nothing I don't like. Sorry.
Okay, 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 okay. You treat all food equally.
Yeah,
Um, are you a sunset or a sunrise person?
I am both. I'm see, none of those factors really stop me in the sense like I'm a morning person or the evening person. I have the same mindset. It's
The favorite. What
conditioning.
is your favorite? What's your favorite? What would you pick? You have to pick one as a favorite.
Okay, if it's a marathon running, I would definitely pick a morning. Running in the morning is a good thing because you have a
Not
lot more energy
marathon.
in a
I
way.
mean, like a daily running. Daily running. Marathons are always in the morning, mostly. So you don't have a choice. But if you were given a choice of daily running, what would you pick? Morning or evening?
Evening, because that's where morning. I
Evening.
mean, I want to avoid the morning because your morning is busy with work. I'm still working, so
Mm,
so I need the time for it. At the same time, I don't want to compromise on my sleep, not getting at 4 o'clock. I mean, I've done those kind of things once upon a time, but
mm.
yeah, nah. Evening runs are easy for me. Falls naturally, organically.
Right. Okay. So, last one I have for you is of the 75 marathons you've run, which which is your most favorite, the most memorable?
Wow, that's a very tough question. There are way too many
You
good
got to pick one.
ones. I know. I got to pick one too. I would say Portland, Oregon, because again for the
Hmm.
it got me the top notch timing 3:47:05. I
Hmm.
never thought that I can accomplish that. The course was good, flat course,
Uh-huh.
totally. At one point of time you go up the bridge and come back, and I was hoping to sign up for that marathon the following year. I know, hoping to get a
Hmm.
Boston qualifier. I signed up, all everything good to go. Probably 2 months before or 2 months before, they cancelled the Portland Marathon, Oregon,
Hmm.
because of some issues and things like that. I was very disappointed. Then, of course, I picked again West Virginia. Luckily, I got my Boston qualifier. But Portland is really good. Location, timing in October, guaranteed good weather, and the course is
Got it.
quite flat.
That's your favorite. Now you got to pick one which was your worst experience in a marathon. The
I can say
worst.
that. I can tell you in my case, of course, it's a Shamrock Marathon in Virginia. So
Hmm.
I go to the race,
What happened?
and it was the weather was going to be very cold, 30 degrees,
Hmm.
and snowing and slushy. Okay, so I
Hmm.
go decked up with all my with my I had all my winter gear, for that,
Hmm.
my gloves and everything. We start running. I think I'm almost mile 8 or so. It's snowing, and I get a lot of icicles falling
Hmm.
and poking in my eyes, and
Hmm.
my clothes are already quite wet, and my gloves are completely drenched, and it's only mile 8 or mile 9, and I got so much to go, and I was like, wow, what's going to happen? Am I going to finish, or what's happening here? So I still running mile 24. I go to a section where you get a lot of sand dunes, and there was so much of wind,
Hmm.
and the sand is flying, and it's like pretty eerie, the whole thing. And like finally mile 26.2, you come back and then settle down in your boardwalk and then close the race. And they put a massive tent, and of course they had a lot of hot soup and all that. It was good, those things are good.
Hmm.
And it was one of the worst timing too for me. And even they
Hmm.
themselves found out later on. They made a special T-shirt, I mean, a special shirt called
Hmm.
"We Survived Shamrock." So that they were selling, and people are buying like crazy. It was a one of the toughest marathon I can call it. And yeah,
Hmm.
again, who knows? The next year Shamrock would have been beautiful, but that particular Shamrock, whenever I
Hmm.
ran 2015 or whatever it is, not a good one. So if you
Hmm.
have to run again, I'll think twice
Got
about, do I need to go there or no?
it. Got it. Got it. Got it. Great. Thanks, Badri. We got to know a few more things about you in the Q&A, so you did well. Thank you. We're kind of coming to a wrap up here, and I want to give you the last word. Any final message you want to give to our audience?
Listen to the body, very important. And people always say that I'm listening to music and things like that. Fine, but at the same time, your body tells you many things through the run, and you got to be completely watchful about it, listening to that. And if you feel that you got to slow down, you got to slow down. And I mean, it gives you a lot of signals. Either it's cramping, or in general, if you got the proper hydration, everything, and even the temperature, and all these factors, come along with it. Listen to the body. And your target should be, like I said, no injury, by the time you finish your run, because you want to come back again, so that you'll have the same motivation to run if you're injury free. And otherwise you're
Yeah.
going to start from
Yeah.
scratch. And if somebody wants to do,
Yep.
these kind of things, that's then it's an added, situation there.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely. Makes sense. Badri, thanks for sharing your wonderful journey and your learnings and wisdom with us. We wish you all the best to get to your 100 as per plans, and we will all be cheering for you. Thanks for taking your time here. I'll let you go and enjoy the rest of the day.
Thank you so much, Santosh, for giving me this opportunity to share this. At the same time, you've done a fantastic job, in this, in terms of leading me to many other topics. So, kudos to you, and good luck with. I think you
Thank you.
have a lot of plans of your own running and other things. Good luck with your own, journeys on that.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.